Imagine this. You rewind time 540 to just 9 million years ago. No humans. Earth is mostly one vast, warm, shallow ocean. Alien continents drifting in a blue world that feels straight out of science fiction. Oxygen? Total chaos. It soared to 35% in the Carboniferous, fueling giant insects, then crashed dangerously low, pushing life to the brink. The real rule of survival was ruthless. Ambush like a shadow, teeth sharper than scalpels, venom that kills in seconds, and babies born by the thousands. Small didn't mean weak, it meant domination. And in 2026, scientists just shattered everything we thought about the Cambrian Explosion. Oxygen wasn't the spark. Something far stranger ignited that wild burst of bizarre, otherworldly life forms. Buckle up. Today, we're not chasing T-Rex. We're facing the tiny terrors that would have ended you before you could scream. Welcome to the true little nightmares of prehistory, where the smallest were the deadliest. Now, let's shift our gaze to a place that still feels close to home in many ways. Australia, roughly 30 to 10 million years ago, through the Paleogene and Miocene epochs. The continent had long drifted away from the ancient supercontinent Gondwana, becoming a vast, isolated world of its own, an evolutionary laboratory where life unfolded in unexpected directions. In northern Queensland, dense tropical rainforests blanketed the landscape, alive with thick humidity, twisting vines, and the steady drone of insects. Rivers carved through limestone, and hidden sinkholes preserved the bones of creatures that fell in, giving us glimpses today of a lost world. With no large placental predators reaching these shores, marsupials rose to fill every role, including that of deadly hunters. Recent work from the Riversley World Heritage Area has deepened the mystery. In 2025, paleontologists described fresh additions to the Maleodectid family, those peculiar hammer-toothed marsupials. A new species, Maleodectes arenae, joins the lineup, alongside an entirely new genus, Weirdodectes napoleoni, known from a single enigmatic tooth. These finds reveal the group stayed diverse and oddly specialized deep into the mid-Miocene, far longer than expected. Among their relatives lurked what we might call the spear-tooth killer koala. Not a true koala, but a compact marsupial predator weighing 10 to 15 pounds, about the size of a sturdy pug you'd meet on an evening walk. Its hallmark was those dramatically elongated premolars, stretched like slender spears or chisels, engineered for stabbing deep and designed for devastating efficiency. The bite delivered quick, tearing strikes that left little chance for escape. Experts speculate some, like the related Echaltidata, may not have been pure hunters. Their tooth design suggests opportunistic ways, perhaps scavenging carrion when fresh kills were scarce, blending predation with whatever the forest provided.
Picture yourself stepping into one of those ancient Queensland rainforests. The air warm and heavy, leaves whispering overhead. Then, in a silent instant, one of these elusive stalkers strikes from the shadows. In just 15 seconds, a spear-like tooth strikes with lethal precision, and the forest falls silent. Small in stature, yes, but in that isolated realm, size gave way to something far more terrifying, pure, perfected lethality. A quiet reminder that on our ancient planet, as we journey even further back in time, millions of years before those isolated Australian rainforests existed, let's plunge into the ancient oceans of the Ordovician period, roughly 486 to 443 million years ago. Earth then was a very different place. Vast, warm, shallow seas covered most of the planet, with scattered low continents and almost no land plants to anchor the soil or pump oxygen into the air. Oxygen dissolved in the water remained relatively low, so life clustered near the seafloor, where conditions were marginally better. In this primordial underwater realm, survival boiled down to one unforgiving principle. The masters of ambush reigned supreme. Among the hidden terrors were scalidons, ancient segmented predators we can aptly call the bobbit worm drag you down,
early kin to today's bobbit worms, but often larger and far more widespread across those primeval oceans. Reaching lengths of up to 2 meters, they possessed razor-sharp, scissor-like jaws, capable of snapping shut with lethal speed, slicing through prey in an instant. These creatures waited, buried in sediment, perfectly still. Trace fossils similar to their burrows, though best documented from later periods like the Miocene in Taiwan, show L-shaped tunnels where ambush worms dragged prey downward. Some paleontologists argue that the constant, unseen threat from these silent hunters drove one of evolution's great innovations: the first hard shells and armor plating in ancient sea creatures. In a profound sense, these tiny ambush worms may have been the unwitting architects of protection itself. One misstep near innocent-looking sand, and in 5 merciless seconds, powerful jaws snapped shut with astonishing speed. Prey vanished beneath the sediment in seconds. The seafloor fell silent once more.
They did not conquer with size or roar. They shaped the future of life itself, quietly forging the armor that would one day allow creatures to endure, to rise, to endure again. As we glide forward through those warm, ancient seas, from about 500 to 150 million years ago, oxygen slowly rose. This gave ocean life the freedom to experiment with every kind of mouth and tooth. One remarkable group stands out: the conodonts. We can call them the needle-tooth, jawless predator. These eel-like swimmers reached up to 1 meter long. Their tiny mineralized elements narrowed to tips just 2 micrometers wide, roughly 1/20th the thickness of a human hair. That makes them about 300 times sharper than our own teeth. High-resolution studies from 2025 to 2026 confirm these were the sharpest cutting tools in Earth's history. They sliced more cleanly and efficiently than great white shark teeth. Microscope images show careful wear patterns, much like those in modern animals. This suggests the teeth were biologically controlled, perhaps the earliest example of true precision dental tools in any vertebrate. A few scientists wonder if grooves in those elements carried venom, similar to lampreys today. The idea is intriguing, but proof remains incomplete. If correct, conodonts may have been among the first venomous vertebrates on our planet. Picture drifting through those dim waters. A slender form approaches unnoticed. Then comes a quick strike. Microscopic needles made swift contact, perhaps delivering a biochemical advantage. the sea falls silent. The motion ended almost instantly. Conodonts leave us with a quiet truth. Across deep time, the deadliest power often hid in the smallest, most elegant details. They were silent architects of life's long story. "50 million years ago, the Earth was a lush greenhouse. Tropical jungles stretched from the American West to the Arctic, fueled by soaring global temperatures. In this sweltering world lived Titanomyrma, a giant ant that redefined the scale of the insect kingdom. With wingspans reaching 6 inches, these queens were the size of hummingbirds. While they lacked the massive army ant swarms often depicted in fiction, their sheer size and powerful bite made them formidable residents of the prehistoric forest floor. Beyond their size, Titanomyrma serves as a vital biological thermometer. Their fossils are found in both Wyoming and Germany, proving they migrated across Arctic land bridges. Since these tropical ants could not survive freezing cold, their journey confirms that the far north once experienced intense warming spikes. Titanomyrma is more than just a giant bug from the past. It is a living record of a planet in flux. It reminds us that in a warmer world, nature finds extraordinary ways to expand and adapt, turning tiny icons of the garden into magnificent masters of a tropical frontier. Before reaching the bone-crushing piranhas of the rivers, we must trek through the dense, oxygen-rich jungles of the Carboniferous and Cretaceous. With oxygen levels peaking at a staggering 35%, Earth became a high-pressure incubator for insects that defy imagination. In the shadows of giant ferns lurked rochoids, the facehuggers of the prehistoric world. Unlike modern roaches, these units possessed long ovipositors designed to inject eggs directly into organic matter. It was a scene straight out of Alien. The young would hatch and consume their host from the inside out, a ruthless masterclass in survival. Nearby, the manipulator reigned as a tactical ghost. Despite its tiny 2-centimeter frame, this predatory roach possessed a neck that could rotate 360 degrees. With the speed of a sprinter and the serrated mandibles of a mantis, it didn't just scavenge, it hunted with mechanical precision. These creatures reveal a profound evolutionary truth. Nature does not prioritize mercy, it prioritizes efficiency. They remind us that in the struggle for life, small size is not a weakness, but a sophisticated form of domination. Sometimes, the true masters of the world aren't the giants that roar, but the silent phantoms waiting in the dark. But the terrors of the deep past weren't confined to the forest floor. They also lurked beneath the shimmering surface of ancient waters. "9 million years ago, the tropical rivers of Miocene Argentina hid a predator that would haunt modern dreams, the Megar piranha. At 30 inches long and 22 pounds,
This wasn't just a fish, it was an evolutionary anomaly with extraordinary biomechanics. Dubbed the bone-crushing superbite, its jaw delivered a staggering 3,000 newtons of force. Remarkably, this predator bit with more raw power than a full-grown tiger, despite being 30 times smaller. New 2026 biological models reveal a mysterious truth. Pound for pound, the Megar piranha possessed the strongest bite of any vertebrate in history, surpassing even the mighty T-Rex. Scientists estimate that if this river monster were scaled up to the size of a great white, it would rival the legendary megalodon itself. In the ancient waters of South America, the Megar piranha reigned supreme, a compact predator with one of the most extreme bite forces ever modeled. While giants once dominated the land and rivers, our journey ends where life itself first ignited. The deep, alien oceans of the Cambrian Explosion. About 540 million years ago, a spike in oxygen fueled a biological arms race, producing creatures so bizarre they defy modern classification. Leading the charge was Anomalocaris, the prehistoric pincer crab. Over a meter long, but weighing only 4 pounds, it was the world's first apex predator. However, a 2023 biomechanical study flipped the script. It likely couldn't crush hard trilobite shells as once believed. Instead, it was a sleek, agile hunter of soft-bodied prey, a specialist, not a tank. Wandering the seafloor nearby was the even stranger Hallucigenia. This walking hellworm looked like a living cactus covered in defensive spikes. For decades, scientists were so baffled they reconstructed it upside down, mistaking its spines for legs. Only recently was its true form revealed. Furthering the mystery, a January 2026 re-examination of 1970s fossils showed a group of Hallucigenia scavenging a dead comb jelly. This discovery confirms they weren't just passive drifters, but the ocean's original cleanup crew, tiny, spiny enigmas in a world where nature was still deciding which side was up. Looking back through these deep time windows, we often tell ourselves we are lucky these creatures are gone. But recent discoveries from 2023 to 2026 reveal a haunting truth. These little nightmares were the inevitable products of extreme climates, fluctuating oxygen, and unstable ecosystems. They prove that life, when pushed to the brink, finds lethal and bizarre ways to adapt. As our own planet's climate shifts, these fossils serve as a warning. They are not just relics of the past, but blueprints of what biology can achieve under pressure. If Earth ever returns to such extreme conditions, we must remember the lesson written in the stone. Evolution doesn't promise to be gentle.